Welcome to the Nerds on Hip Hop podcast. This podcast is about the intersection of hip hop and nerd life. De La Soul, Odin Sphere, Erykah Badu, Hayao Miyazaki, Weevil Underwood, or KRS-One are all fair game. If you know any of these names, welcome.
There are four main parts. We first review our weeks in nerddom and hip-hop. Then we explore theme through our hip-hop and nerd influences. At the end, we ask ourselves a question and open up to you to answer your questions.
Welcome officially to Nerds on Hip Hop. I'm your host, The Wolf's Den, and I'm joined by the legendary Sailor Scout Johnson.
AKA Miss Old School.
So, let's talk about our week in nerddom.
Indeed. How was your week?
I have been procrastinating on life playing Fire Emblem. Fire Emblem Awakening, I stopped it last year. I reached chapter 15, and there are I think about 26 chapters in the game. I'm now in like chapter 22. And the main thing that I've been thinking about is that Fire Emblem Awakening has gotten this so much backlash from hardcore fans of the series. They're pretty much saying, oh, it is too watered down gameplay-wise. It is too pandering to certain types of people. There's a lot of flack that it's gained.
So what do you think? Is it too pandering?
I don't think it's pandering in the way that people are thinking about it. So, the main thing that they're getting at, one of the things that they get at is the relationship system in the game. The relationship system is one of the coolest things about the game. Essentially, if you pair units together and they develop they develop affinity, and they can have kids over the period of them fighting this war. And because of kind of some time travel stuff going on, you actually get to recruit kids into your army who have the statistical influences of the mother and father. So it's really cool in that sense. But the arguments that people say is that the characters are too one-dimensional in their support of one another, and the kind of romantic tension is awkward. I think the romantic tension can be a little bit, like, weird. I think that's fair to say. I think fans have a decent criticism of that.
Weird how?
How? So, there's a support that I watched. So after you do a battle, if you had certain units paired with each other, there's a support at the end of every battle that you can watch, which is pretty much them interacting with each other. And in order to get married, you want them to have a certain amount of support. And it kind of gets weird where you start seeing them trying to develop a romantic relationship sometimes. Sometimes it's kind of cute and it's like, aww. And then other times you're like, this is just way too suspect. The support I watched had the mention, I think, was one of the characters massaging the others, but is reading it through text boxes. It's just like, this is just not reading well. Like, this should not have slid through. So it kind of can get awkward. Other stories where, for example, you have a guy who stopped talking to women because he and his friend were together, small girl. She got attacked and he survived. So he was like, I don't want to ever put myself in a position where I can't take care of someone. So he is afraid of women. And in my game, I have him marry a dark magician. So it's all about part of their relationship is her trying to heal him through cursing him. So it's kind of interesting. Like, that to me was like kind of cute, kind of weird,
It's an odd way to cure a fear.
Right, exactly. So there's a lot to that. And I think people are like, another criticism is that it gets very one-dimensional because that's part of who she is and that's part of who he is. But I think once you have him interact with other characters, because he doesn't just relate to the romantic interest, he can relate to other characters, you get more of who they are. So I like the relationship system. I think it should stay around. I just do think the romantic parts are kind of on bordering line semi-creepy at times. There's that. I pre-ordered Xenoblade Chronicles X at my local GameStop. It is nearly $100. You get the art book. You get a USB drive in the shape of a robot, and it has like 10 songs. And you have some weird card that they mentioned. I've been waiting for this game for way, 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 way too long. So that's kind of been my week in nerddom. What about you?
Me, well, first, I am super, superly duper excited that Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to be the new writer for Black Panther. News just dropped today, which has been fun.
I think this is a good consolation prize considering that we did not get Ava DuVernay to actually direct the movie. So I think this is a consolation prize for all of us.
That's true. That's true. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, and then she tweeted at him, "Congratulations," with like the Fresh Prince, Black Panther, Black Power Fist, which is hilarious. Just like Uncle Phil and Aunt Vivian giving the Black Power Fist, like go Ta-Nehisi. It's funny. He was feeding Jay-Z lyrics all day too with with Black Panther pictures. It was awesome because the hip hop variant they released Reasonable Doubt with Black Panther today. So
I did not see that cover yet. Okay, I need to take a look.
It was great.
Do we know if it's going to be the run that starts this fall, or is it going to be a run that starts next year?
I've been hearing next year, but I'm sure we'll update that. I'm pretty sure it's next year. Yes. Google Magic.
And what else has been going on in your week?
Well, I got Saga, which is the other thing I'm super excited about. I've been waiting almost a year for this. I don't get the comic books every month because I am broke, and so I wait for the trades from Amazon every so few many months. So finally I'm catching up to the series, but just spoilers. Well, I have to say first that Lion Cat is definitely my spirit animal because he's hilarious. Or she. I think it's a she. She just calls out anyone who's lying, and you never expect it, and it's just the best thing ever. But I like how the story's moving along. Fiona Staples is always just a great artist, along with Brian K. Vaughan, who's a really good writer. But once again, spoiler, but the thing where I left off in the book is the older Willow woman, I forgot her name, is not going to make it, and I'm super sad. But she goes out high as F, as they say, and I thought that was hilarious. But yeah, Saga, I'm almost done with it. I'm about halfway through the trade, excited to see where it ends. And then I'll have to wait another close to a year for the next one. It sucks, but yeah, that's it for me.
Well, I was going to ask you, for a person like me who has never read Saga, what would you kind of describe the visual style to be? And what would you describe kind of the writing style to be? Like, for a person who's like listening to this and says, you know what, I've heard about Saga, but I know nothing, what would be like your 2-minute pitch?
Oh man, you're right, yeah. Well, Saga is indeed what it's called. It's very straightforward. It's a saga. Follows two people who basically fall in love, and they're ironically, one is white and one is black, or one has brown skin and one has white skin, but they're also two different races, and one has horns, the other one has wings, and their countries have been at war with each other for years and years and years. But they fall in love and they have a child together, and basically now they're on the run. They're both soldiers in their independent armies, separate armies as well. Of course, now they're on the run because their child is like a symbol of rebellion, because she has horns and wings. She's also Mocha. And so, yeah, now they're just going on adventures, trying to hide out from the government. There's also, like, robot people who are tracking them down. There's a royal robot TV person. It's really weird, to be honest with you. But it's great. The story's hilarious. And it's just really vibrant and colorful and beautiful. And it's a great story in general. How was that? Is that 2 minutes?
That may or may not have been 2 minutes, but that's a pretty darn good pitch. Interracial marriage and weird robots. I don't think it gets more interesting than that combination.
Great, yeah, and super diverse. I mean, even with like two different actual races and then two just different skin colors, like all throughout the book. Yeah, it's a nice
Very, very neat.
yeah, indeed. So that's all I have about Saga. As I move forward in the book, maybe next week I'll have more as I finish. But how was your week in hip hop?
So today, as in like 10 o'clock today, while at work, when I should have been slightly more productive, Madlib posted on his Facebook page that there is a collaboration album between him, Blue, and MED. Now, I don't like MED a lot, to be honest with you, but if MED is the key for me getting a full album of Blue over Madlib beats, count me 100% interested. And the single had MF Doom on it.
That's beautiful.
It was a beautiful experience. It was a beautiful song. I need to get to listen to it again. I have not gotten a chance to listen to it again since 10, so I do not remember the name of the song for the life of me. I will make sure that it's done. The actual album is called Bad Neighbors. It comes out in October. I think it's October 10th. Technical difficulties.
Let's take a break.
So we are back from the beautiful Skype technical difficulties. Right? Don't we love Skype? Sailor Scout?
Love is a strong word.
So, recovering from that, we actually finished Googling, or I should say, Sailor Scout scouted out the information.
Me. I'm also Google Queen.
Google Queen. She found out that the album comes out on October 30th. What I am most excited for this week in hip hop, and I feel like I'm probably like the single one person who's excited for this day, is this Friday. 2 albums come out, or an album and an EP come out. JGivens releases his second debut, not second debut, you can't debut twice, his sophomore album.
Maybe you can. Maybe you can be old Kanye and new Kanye.
He releases his second album, Fly Exam, and if you've heard any of the singles from this project, I expect nothing less than greatness. I sent Victoria a video the other day, which is called 10 for 2, which is a track with JGivens and Odd Thomas of Beautiful Eulogy. And the actual video is you look through your phone like a 3D space. It was kind of cool watching someone else go through the 3D space as well. Victoria was kind of semi-confused, kind of not.
Maybe. I feel like I remember this, but I'm not sure if I'm remembering the right thing. Is this the one where like his arms are reaching out and like moving,
Yes.
shifting things around? Oh yeah, that was super cool.
Yeah, so I remember when I first watched the video, I just thought it was just him moving around dominoes for the whole thing. And then I lifted my phone up, I was like, wait, that's his backyard? Wait, that's him? It was really nifty. I'm surprised that nobody else has kind of beaten him to this punch. Like, you'd think there'd be more of these videos by now, because Google Cardboard and stuff has been around for a while.
Right, yeah, I'm surprised. Especially people who are so innovative online. You would think someone would have thought of that already, but he got it.
He got it. And the other track, which is Ignorantro, which finally got him on 2 Dope Boys earlier this year. Things are looking great. I'm expecting potential top 5 albums of the year out of this one. That's my expectation level. Maybe I'm going to cry and be disappointed, but I'm not anticipating it. I'm expecting greatness.
His flow, or how do they sound?
I would say take someone with Andre 3000's flow in terms of like kind of breath control, put that over more live instrumentation, but not necessarily kind of live beats. So his producers don't tend to sample. His producers tend to more so create their own music and then sample themselves. Beats still kind of sound they're not soulful. I'm trying to figure out how else to describe the beats for you, because the Beautiful Eulogy sound is very unique to them, and that he pairs that with as a guy who you can tell that he has that Andre 3000 flow and has that kind of Kendrick flow. You know that when Kendrick kind of goes fully excessive, he tends to have that, and you can tell that he got that more from Andre 3000 and Kendrick. So all of that with kind of a Christian background, because that permeates a lot of his music, but it is so awesome, so exciting.
That sounds awesome.
And then the thing I'm expecting to not like, but I have to be excited for, is Charles Hamilton's EP comes out on Friday.
Why aren't you excited for it?
Because I don't know what to expect. Like I really don't know. There's been nothing that lets me know if I'm going to like this or not. I've read an early review that pretty much said it's not the thing that Charles was great at doing. He's not doing on this project, and that's it's tough. It's tough to get used to. I'm open to it, but I'm not going to go in with any expectations. I feel like I'm learning about him again for the first time in my life, as if I wasn't a Charles Hamilton fan before.
So you can debut twice.
Yeah, I guess you can debut twice. This is clear. This is exactly what it means to debut twice. That, and the last thing in my week in hip hop has been listening to the Add To album, Pray for the Poor, and to be quite honest with you, I've been kind of listening to the same track on repeat, which is Kool-Aid, and I've been listening to the track on repeat because of Rhapsody's verse. Rhapsody is slowly kind of... At one point in time, if you ask me the artist who created kind of the most beautiful tracks about like love and relationships, it was Common and Charles Hamilton. Rhapsody is slowly grading there. Every time I hear that verse, I'm like, man, I wish I had a girl like that. Like, yeah, she captures such a vibe, and as I said, yeah, I've been enjoying the project a lot, but I know I've been stuck on that verse for a while. What about for you? Since you write for hip hop people, you probably more interesting stuff.
Not well, just as interesting. I did a review on Luke Christopher's two EPs yesterday and tomorrow, which were both I really enjoyed. Yesterday kind of when remastered some of his old stuff, and tomorrow the mixtape is called Tomorrow, or the EP is called Tomorrow. Went and kind of brought in some new things, like one of his new singles, and then just all new music. I described it as a mix of a few people: John Legend, Blue, Old Kanye, and someone else I can't remember. But he's super dope. He produces all of his stuff first of all, which is just amazing. He also sings, so he's just like this rapper who just switches to singing at the drop of a hat, with like John Legend vocals, like not like rapper with autotune, like actual singing, and over these soulful beats that draw from like 30s jazz and 80s synth pop and 70s funk. And then he has a lot of stuff that sounds a bit modern too, just like something that sounds like it came from today, and then other things that you can tell kind of draws from the past as well. So Luke Christopher's definitely been on my radar for a few months now, and then these EPs kind of like solidified him on that.
Right. But you talked a little bit to me that he kind of has a lane in terms of things that he talks about. I think that we had talked about that a little bit.
We did, we did. He's definitely one of those rappers, like, his heart on his sleeve, where he talks about girls and kind of like a lot of like love stuff and being with girls, but he can also switch it up kind of. I compared him to Drake, which hurts me to say because I'm not the biggest Drake fan. Um, I hold for the booze. And so, but just Drake, how he'll switch from, you know, thank you. I know you don't mean that, but thank you. He'll switch from like, admiring girls and then to like, that famous line he has, "You wasn't with me shooting in the gym." And I think Luke Christopher kind of has that grit too, but he also brings it back to love as well, which is cool. So yeah, it's a bunch of tracks to check out on there. I think it's a total of 11 songs. Really good stuff. But that was really exciting this week. But the other thing that I am just gleaming for is I found out that DJ Jazzy Jeff's son is super dope. His name is, I'm not sure if his name is A Miracle. His rap name is A Miracle. And he also goes by Amir. I don't know if it's short for that or if he's shortening up his name or if he's elongating it. But, yeah, of course he has songs produced by DJ Jazzy Jeff. You might even know him from Girl Meets World because he's starting a reoccurring character on there. So he's really versatile. He's 16, super young, but super dope as well. He has an album, 15 North Dakota, that I've been pretty much listening to all day today and yesterday. With it kind of follows a story of 2 or 3 kids roaming around and just, I guess, getting into trouble and learning not to get into trouble and finding themselves in a whole bunch of trouble. It's been a nice ride, and I look forward to seeing more of him. He also, his favorite rapper is Lauryn Hill, so that should tell you a lot. He has this one song that I think is probably my favorite that he came out with when he was 12, called, or is it? I think it's Throwback. Think back. Sorry. And he talks about, think back to, Tupac and Biggie and Lauren and Nas and Jay-Z and just how that kind of influences us today and just like trying to remember those initial influences and bringing it back to today. And I just thought that was cool for a young kid to think to do that. Like, you have your Kendrick who'll bring in George Clinton and a lot of the OGs into his music, but like for someone to be so vocal about it or like just like actually say it in his lyrics, that was cool too.
But to kind of play devil's advocate, it reminds me of something someone told me. There's this rapper who I knew that came out around he was 15 when I first heard his project. And I was like, this is great. And he was like referencing Tribe Called Quest and so forth. And the natural question kind of came up of that. Are they pandering to older demographics when they're doing that? Or are they fully sincere and do they, especially when you mentioned that he wrote that song at the age of 12, does he really get the full connection of them? And it's not to say that he doesn't appreciate them, but is it fully sincere at the age of 12, or are you just trying to sound cool like an older adult?
I would question that if he wasn't DJ Jazzy Jeff's son. Because he vinyls out the wazoo probably growing up. So I feel like he probably got the proper, definitely got some extended listening lessons on sessions on a bunch of different stuff. So I give him the credit. I'll give him the credit. I don't remember the other artists, though. The Tribe Called Quest. And I know Tupac has Old School, which is another favorite of mine.
The Tribe Called Quest track I was referring to is Stressed Out, and this was kind of duplicated by a guy named B Dunn, and it was his album that I'd listened to in 2007 when he was 15. It was crazy, but it was just as soon as someone asked me that, I was like, I wonder.
I could see that. I don't know.
What a time to be alive, right?
Oh gosh. I guess, is it that time already? Is it that time to be alive?
I mean, it's a time to be alive. We got young cats quoting with Tupac and so forth. So I mean, it's really a time to be alive.
Yes, it is. I'll agree with that. Someone said that 2015 is the best year in music, in hip hop, since the 2000s started. And I think, or at least definitely since the 2010 started, I can agree with that. We've had a lot of hits coming out this year, leading up to an interesting collaboration album that everyone is talking about, it seems. What a time to be alive. Uh, did you listen to it at all?
As I said on Twitter, it is Drake and Future, two of my least favorite artists. There's highly unlikely that I'll be listening to this out of my own volition. At least Drake is interestingly my least favorite artist. I can't say the same for Future. Drake is at least interesting. But go ahead. You blessed your ears with this music, right? That's what I'm hearing on Twitter these days.
Blessed is a strong word. um, I did listen to it. I write for a hip hop site, so I try to be open minded. Um, it was okay. It was okay. I think someone said on Twitter that it's one of those albums where you'll probably repeat a lot of the songs if you're into like trap and kind of that trill stuff music, and then you'll forget about it in a month. And that's what a lot of it feels like to me. Diamonds Dancing has actually been stuck in my head because it's super catchy, and it seems that's a song that's been stuck in everyone's head. But other than that, not really interested either. Not a Drake fan, not a Future fan. But I did find an interesting article yesterday, or no, earlier today, on Slant with this guy who's talking about whether we needed that album, or why we needed that album, rather. Because it was the first time in a while where hip hop fans have got the answer to the what if question. Like, what if these two artists collaborated and did something? Because, when we were talking earlier, DJ Premier and Nas still haven't done anything. Everyone says J. Cole and Kendrick, and there's all these collaborations that we have, like, what if only, and then this is one of the things. It's like people wanted this, and it happened, and that was a cool moment in hip hop. So I'll give it that.
I and when you put it in that perspective, I'm kind of happy they got it. Like, I may be some form of person who doesn't like any of them, but I'm glad that fans of him got what they wanted. I'm actually surprised that it was a. I'm surprised that they did want this though, because I thought they would have paired Drake with somebody else, probably Wayne in my head. Like I thought that's what people would want, or rather, but I guess not. Maybe it's too late for that, given how Wayne has been going.
Yeah, I think if Wayne probably stayed on the same path, people would want that. But I think he just made too much of a left turn for them to pair him with Drake. But
Right.
yeah, but even like a Drake and Nicki album would be pretty
Right.
cool. But I did see someone said Future is the Hood's Drake, so maybe they are like two sides of its coin, like Two-Face. So and
I
that
can
kind
see
of
that.
works in a way. Both kind of like laid back, but I don't know.
Did they play off each other pretty well on the album? Because the album that people are comparing this to is Watch the Throne, and I'm not going to get into how I even feel about that album. But that album is notoriously known for saying this was a Kanye album and Jay-Z just was featured on every track. That's what they kind of said about Watch the Throne. Do you feel that any particular artist had too much of a hold on this album, or you actually felt like they were actually collaborating?
I think they were collaborating. I just remember like listening to it and hearing like someone do a verse and then someone go into the chorus, and it felt seamless to me. I have heard that a lot of people felt it was more of a Future album, I want to say. No, I can't exactly remember. But with Drake just on it. But to me it felt like a seamless back and forth. But it all kinds of blends in after a while, to be honest. So, I don't know.
So I think that kind of concludes our weeks.
Yep.
Here comes one of my favorite part of the show, which is pretty much our theme of the week. Our theme of the week is actually collections. And what we do with our theme is we're going to look at our theme in hip hop. We're going to look at our theme in nerddom. So one of the things I wanted to talk about is a little bit about collecting in hip hop. One of the biggest things that come to mind when I start thinking about collecting in hip hop was the videos I think Mass Appeal put out last year showing Jay Dilla's record collection. It was just like massive, like going in basements and so forth. And it made me also think there's this point in time where there's this photo of Dilla that used to go around, and I think it was him in front of a couple of drums. I mean, there's this kind of big record pile behind him, and there are like 4 records face out. And I remember people doing like Photoshop editing to find out what those photos were because people were so excited to learn more about Dilla's collection. There's this album cover with like 3 different birds, and people are like doing like some CSI Miami, zooming in, trying to read the unanalyzed pixels. It was crazy. But it's this kind of infatuation I think that we have for hip-hop producers' record collections. And it also made me think about how someone I knew when he was making music used to just make a collection of break beats. So he'd take the albums, we'd be in the radio station, and he'd just like record everything, find the break beats, and he'd just save that for later. It's like I'll get back to this. I just need to build a library of all these sounds. What comes to your mind when you start thinking about like hip hop and collections?
It's funny. Vinyl collections is the first thing that came to mind my mind as well. Just thinking back to all the producers. I remember I was watching a documentary where they were showing producers with storage units just dedicated to their vinyl. So they just have tons and tons and tons of it. And it also made me think of how back in the day, where these famous producers would go into record stores, and they would come out and like hide and strip the covers so no one could see what they were spinning or what new stuff they found, just so they could hide it. I was speaking with someone the other day about who sampled, because there's been such a debate about it, on whether or not it's kind of snitching or showing a DJ or a producer's secrets. But I think it's funner to know and learn and figure out what they used, and see like if Jay-Z sampled some salsa song or something. I don't know if that's happened, but it'd be interesting to know. But that's what I thought of, just vinyl collections. Massive vinyl collections from everyone.
It's funny because I think I've heard the same thing about who sampled before, and I think I'm in your camp. I'm glad that it exists. I do think that maybe there should be like an expiration, like an album needs to be out for a while before you start uploading samples. Because I remember at one time, I don't know, I've forgotten the name of the guy who used to make Kevin Nottingham. Kevin Nottingham had a series going on his website where, say that the Speaker Box Love Below if it just came out, he would find the samples and create a mixtape out of that, which is cool. And I think he had done one for Mad Villainy at one point. However, they didn't clear a lot of the samples for Mad Villainy. So Madlib was like, could you please take that down? And given how, especially if in the last year or so, we've seen lawsuits kind of get even bigger. We have the whole Pharrell, Blurred Lines scenario, or Robin Thicke, sorry, and how that turned out in the Marvin Gaye situation. So I want to know. Go ahead, sorry.
And Bruno Mars and his entire discography.
The entire thing. So yeah, I want to know these samples, but I don't want them to be compromising the artists at all. So that's how I feel weird with who sampled.
I can see that. I can agree with that. I think maybe like a 5 or 10 year limit, or what, or how long, if the song's been out for a certain amount of time, like copyright laws, then it's like, all right, we can release what they sampled now. That'd be cool. That would work. Yeah, because I mean, the producers do deserve to like keep their secrets or their findings, a little secretive. They go through a lot of work to find them, so yeah, I could go with that. Yeah. I also oh yeah, nah.
Speaking of nah, I thought about how collections happen in some of the nerd stuff that came to my mind. And to my mind, they're too big. Are you kidding me? If this is a real collection, what were you doing? And these scenarios happen in Yu-Gi-Oh! In the very first few episodes, two weird things happen with his collection. So, part of a plot point of like the very first few episodes is set up. I don't know if you know who Kaiba is in Yu-Gi-Oh! If you remember him. No,
I didn't watch Yu-Gi-Oh! Actually.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Pause for booze.
No, there's no boost for this one. I think you can get away without watching Yu-Gi-Oh! However, one of the main not the protagonist, one of the main antagonists in the series, kind of the Vegeta of the whole Yu-Gi-Oh! Thing, he finds out that this kid's grandfather has a blue eyes white dragon, which is there's only 3 in the world. And he tries to buy it off the grandfather. Grandfather says, "No, this has sentimental value to me. I could never sell such an important card to the collection." So the entire setup of the first 2 episodes is that Kaiba kind of attacks the old man, takes him to his corporation, and essentially gets the card to rip it up.
Some hard stuff.
All just to get the card and rip it up. Like, he pretty much mugs the old man just to tear a card. And he tears the card because he doesn't want anyone else in the world to have the card in their collection. Which is ridiculous. Like, why? Is my ultimate question of like, I get and in my mind I'm like, there's only 3 of them in existence in the world. You'd think that you'd find a way to take care of something like that if there's only 3 of them in the world. Like, you run a card shop. You would probably put this in like a safe if there's only 3 of them in the world and you own one. It's kind of weird watching that. And then the other, like, are you kidding me moment is that in order to beat Kaiba in that first episode, there's this card that they created where if you use all five of them together, you automatically win the game. Which is broken as ever for like a card game. Like, and especially if the show, you can't keep that around as a plot device for the show, because the question would be like, why does he try to do that every game? So they want to get rid of this card. So essentially, keep in mind, this is like a super rare set of 5 cards to have. And so so Yugi's on this boat with his competitors going to an island to battle, right? And people are like trading cards and talking to one another, which would be normal things to do. And then he has this one guy who comes up to him and is like, "Oh, can I please see that rare card of which there seems to only be one in the world?" It's like, sure, you could take a look at these 5 cards that seem to be only one in the world. And he proceeds to throw the card into the water.
Oh my god.
It was like, are you kidding me? Like, it is the most, like, jerk move, and the most, like, why would you share that with someone you don't know?
Yeah, that's really silly.
Yeah. So as, like, the caring for collections in that series was very odd. And speaking of collections, I've never collected all 31 Pokemon now. I've never collected, in any generation, I never caught them all. So, there's that too.
But you gotta catch them all.
What about for you? What comes to your mind?
Oh, obviously, huge Sailor Moon fan here. Uh, I thought of the first season where they go to collect the rainbow. Queen Beryl goes to collect the rainbow crystals, and then that made me think of Dragon Ball Z and how they collect the Dragon Balls, and just like this whole idea of kind of goal setting in Dragon Ball Z and Sailor Moon, where and Sailor Moon is the villain, and Dragon Ball Z it's the heroes. We're just every week just trying to collect this series of. They're both 7 actually, 7 colors in the rainbow, 7 Dragon Balls. Just trying to collect. Want to achieve this goal. Villains want to take over the world. Dragon Balls heroes want to get a wish. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe I'm wondering if it kind of set up some kind of subliminal goal setting, matching, reaching thing in kids' minds. Just like, oh yeah, this week we're getting another one. We're going after that same goal so we can fill our 7 thing quota. But also, back to Sailor Moon, just made me think of how Naoko Taiuchi uses collections of things for her characters and groups them together. Like Sailor Moon, obviously, is Sailor Moon, Sailor Mercury, Sailor Mars, all the planets, and Moon and Mask. And then her villains in the first season are all rocks. Beryl, Jadeite, Nephlite. Then it goes to Diamond, Sapphire, Ruby. And there's also like animals later on, and there's different things that she kind of groups together. And I don't know if that was a way to make it easier for her, just kind of keeping this theme of collecting and grouping, but so it was interesting to see her characters embody these random gemstones and rocks and take on the things of that. You're giving me a confused look.
No, I was about to say that one made me think of kind of how that kind of happened in Dragon Ball Z too, in terms of like grouping names of like vegetables, Piccolo, Kakarot, Vegeta. All of those are supposed to be kind of vegetables in kind of masked form. And then you think about Bulma, Dr. Briefs, Bra. I think it's is it Bra? I'm trying to remember. Trunks. Like all of them are supposed to be underwear essentially.
I've never noticed that. That's hilarious.
Yeah, they got away with it pretty well. Because I don't think they say Dr. Brief's name very often.
No. You just call him Doctor or something.
Right, and I think with Bulma, I forgot how that translates properly. But I think because that one's not obvious, when you hear Trunks, you don't think anything about it.
Right, yeah. It just became a regular name. I don't know, how did that happen? Well, I guess you're hearing like Vegeta and Goku all for like a few seasons, and then it's like, oh, Trunks, that's normal. So maybe.
And because they use Goku more than Kakarot, you don't recognize that Kakarot is supposed to be Carrot.
Right, that too. You don't really hear his actual name too much, unless Vegeta's around. Kakarot. It's great.
Exactly.
But that concludes my Nerdum collection. We want to move on to our what question of the day?
So tell them what the what question is.
Our what question this episode is, what do you collect and what collections do you wish you had? Well, we wish we had. I am, as I mentioned, a huge Sailor Moon fan. I have posters, mugs, DVDs, just anything you can think of Sailor Moon. I try to collect it. I try to get it. Unless it's just super expensive. Because, yeah, broke. Yeah, Sailor Moon is huge. Like, anything I see of Sailor Moon, I just want it. It doesn't matter what it is. Magnets, stickers, pencils, notebooks, folders. I have folders. I have cards. I have Sailor Moon cards. I collected them for a bit.
Swimsuits?
Swimsuits. I have 2 Sailor Moon swimsuits. I have like a dress, Sailor Moon dress, Sailor Mini Moon dress, Sailor Pluto dress. Yeah, it's hardcore. I think maybe one day have my own little spot. I'll decorate, have a little crazy shrine to it. It's It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. But other than that, I mean, just TV show, DVDs, movies, books. Going through $5 bins is like my favorite hobby ever. But on things I wish I collected, I really want a vinyl collection, although they're super semi-impractical now.
Impractical? They're not. They're actually very practical.
Yeah, well, I mean, they take up a lot of space, and it's just like it's nice to look at, which could be a practical reason, depending on where you're coming from. But I don't know. The To Pimp a Butterfly vinyl just came out. It's $28. I'm itching to buy it, but at the same time, it's $28 and it's vinyl. I don't know. I already have the album. It's I don't know. Maybe I'll wait till it comes down a bit, but I would love a vinyl collection to look at. And then you see like those DJs and producers with storage units of vinyl. It's like, where does it stop, you know? But I have a few. I have maybe three or four. Maybe I'll build up later on, but that's it for now. What do you collect? Do you collect anything?
I collect a few things. So I've got a music collection. It's kind of separated in different sets. I have my hip hop stuff on CDs. I've been trying to develop more of a soul and reggae collection through vinyl.
Interesting.
And particularly reggae, especially because, as weird as it sounds, I think most reggae, especially older reggae that I like, when they got put onto CDs, they weren't mastered well, so they sound they don't have any warmth. They don't have, the sounds are like kind of tinny, as opposed to on the vinyl, it's so much more warm, and especially because reggae has a lot of bass lines and stuff, it's very important to have that. And so I have a music collection, and then I got a video game collection that I'm starting over. I started over from scratch in 2013. When I left New York, I gave away all my video games. I mean, I'm hoping to get them back, but I told them to hold on for it. So I gave away my DS. I gave my DS to my ex-girlfriend. I gave my Super Nintendo to pretty much one of my closest friends. My PS2 is one of my other closest friends, and my GameCube traveled from one house to another right now between two other friends. And although Victoria has told me that she's upset that I gave away my DS to my ex, I'm just saying she was not my ex at the time. Just a kind reminder before you give me that stare. Again, I saw you.
Small things. Little details.
So I started my video game collection over, and I've been kind of enjoying being from scratch and not feeling tied to a backlog. And I'm a person who likes to physically have things, so I even have, I don't know if you know, have you heard of the Amiibos that Nintendo has made?
No.
Those are the little kind of statue figures that they've made.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
I think I showed you them when you came.
Yeah, you have the Super Mario, I think, and...
Not Mario, but...
You have the Final Fantasy characters? I might be getting it wrong.
You're mixing up characters, but it's okay.
Okay.
I got Xenoblade and whatever. Like it's fun. I love all of that. Things that I wish I had. I saw this on your list and you didn't mention it. I do want a good comic collection.
I do want a good comic collection too. Yeah, I as I mentioned, I have Saga. I plan on starting to collect Black Panther once Ta-Nehisi Coates starts on it. My brother gets Miss Marvel, so I've kind of bum off of his. And his Spider-Gwen. But I would really love a comic book collection. But it goes back to that kind of impracticalness where, I mean, you start getting these, like my brother has huge cardboard boxes of comic books. And, I mean, once you start collecting the vinyl and the comic books and the albums and the Sailor Moon stuff, I need stuff for my Sailor Moon stuff.
This is my issue with collections. I feel like you have to be like super deliberate about what it is you're going to collect and just stick to that. Because in a heartbeat, you can start collecting way too many things.
Yeah, because I have 2 sets of Sailor Moon DVDs, too.
Legal and illegal.
It was my only option. So I just...
And other things I kind of wish I could do. I want an art collection. Like I dream of having a house and having a bunch of different art pieces, and it's a combination of two different types of art. Like when I was in New York, I did a bunch of museums I went to, and I've seen like a lot of paintings of like, oh my gosh, this is like the greatest thing ever. I actually felt like different deep emotions. Like I remember one where I was just like, this scares the everything out of me. Like it feels haunting. I mean, there's another painting that feels like my example of what my emotional love high feels like. So it's like I got stuff like that, and I want to pair that with certain video game art that I really enjoy. There's an artist called Yoshitaka Amano who did the old Final Fantasies, so everything before 7. And there's a weird watercolor art style that's just like aesthetically gorgeous. I'm like, I want to kind of pair that with the other pieces of art to kind of have a nice museum of some sort of like, oh, this is this. Yeah. That, and the other thing I wish I could collect, sneakers, but that's a whole conversation for another day.
There was a time I wanted to collect sneakers, but money and yeah.
I mean, I think money is kind of the key detriment for all of us right now.
This is true. This is true. It's funny you mentioned art though, because I didn't have that on my list, but that's something I do plan on. But I want a bunch of 90s art, like dedication to the 90s stuff, 80s and 90s. It's like, so that'll be fun.
So see, your vinyl can be practical. You can hang up your vinyl as 90s tributes.
Oh, maybe. Well then, but then I'm gonna run out of wall space. Eventually.
I mean, all you just need is like the three Fuji albums and Lauryn Hill, and you'll be okay.
It's true. Maybe it's from A Tribe Called Quest.
Maybe. What's your favorite album cover from A Tribe Called Quest?
Ooh. Probably Midnight Martyrs.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what mine is. Right now, I guess because I kind of leaning towards Beat Rhymes and Life or the Love Movement. Just because the Love Movement looks so drastically different from everything else they've done.
True.
But
yeah. They're celebrating. They're celebrating the 25th anniversary of their first album, by the way. Supposed to have some remixes with new artists they haven't announced yet.
Is today the official day of the anniversary, or did that pass already?
I think it passed already because I saw a like a tribute to the album a few months ago, like on the actual date, but it's still the year, so I guess they're celebrating it a bit late. Yeah.
Okay. It's Instinctive Travels.
I'm curious to see who they remixed the album with. They said it's going to be new artists or modern artists. Could be Kendrick, could be Tyler, the Creator. Who knows?
I kind of just want Tyler, the Creator, to remix the whole album now that you mentioned that.
That's who I keep thinking of.
I thought you were going to say something more like, I feel like I'm going to get shot by someone, like will.i.am.
Oh, I hope not. Oh, I mean, it would be...
I said there's a reason to why I make such a suggestion.
Please explain.
Do you remember the track Like That? That was on, I think, Monkey Business?
I think so.
I'm going to be very clear. Monkey Business was a really pretty not good album. On retrospect, I was just a bad teenager for liking that album. But that song...
The one with Boom Boom Boom?
No. No, I don't think that was on that one. But not the point. That song, Like That, he has Q-Tip and Talib Kweli and CeeLo Green.
Oh.
And it's actually sounds pretty nice, and it feels like something that was kind of in the same vein as a Tribe song. Like, it was like, oh, that feels like a natural evolution of that. I mean, mind you, will.i.am and the rest of Black Eyed Peas are not like great rhymers by any means. So I'm not suggesting that, but I'm saying in terms of vibe and the production and the style that they tried to rap on, is like it felt like he was trying to do a miniature ode to them, and that's why he had Q-Tip on the track in the first place.
Okay, now that you've explained it, I could see it. I could see it. Maybe they'll go like will.i.am and Pharrell.
I think Pharrell would probably be better for everybody.
I agree. Sorry guys, I'm halfway dying over here. I have a cold. But yeah. But I think that pretty much.
If she...
Hmm?
So if you don't hear her on the next episode, she passed away.
Yep. I'm gonna be a goner. This is the first and last episode. But thank you guys for tuning in and listening to my coughs and our musings on nerdom and hip hop.
And who are you again?
I am Victoria, aka Sailor Scout, aka Miss Old School, aka Google Queen, aka Girl Who's coughing and dying right now. Who are you?
I am the Wolves Den, who is not dying at this moment.
Lucky.
You can find us both at, she's on Twitter and Instagram as Miss Old School. I'm the Wolves Den 25 on Twitter and Instagram.
OLDSKOO.
Say that one more time.
OLDSKOOL. Because I don't know how to spell.
It's not like she got a master's degree in journalism or anything. Just saying.
Small details.
Anyways, typically we would have done a question and answer segment at the end of our what question, but because this is our first episode, this has not happened yet. However, we are asking you to answer our question of what collections you have in nerddom and hip-hop. And if you want to answer these questions, you have two choices. You could use the hashtag AskNOHH, or you can email us at nerdsonhiphop@gmail.com. Again, if you actually are like super excited to share your nerdy or hip-hop collections, use the hashtag AskNOHH, standing for Nerds on Hip Hop, or you can email us at nerdsonhiphop@gmail.com. We will catch you later. Sayonara, son.